Gonzo Today newsroom, this is Memos from the National Affairs Desk. Presented by Gonzo Today. www.gonzotoday.com. The weird have just turned pro.
Welcome. Reporting for Gonzo Today's National Affairs Desk, I'm Dr. Jeffurious Higgason. Here are some headlines for the week ending Friday, January the 16th. On Tuesday, Reuters published a report stating that U.S. police are being unfairly targeted in response to allegations of police brutality. Leaders from 3 police organizations ushered this notion in at a meeting held Tuesday of President Obama's policing task force that's designed to help the police the policies concerning matters referring to the police being targeted in response to police brutality. The statement was sent over to the Wall Street Journal, and boom, lo and behold, another vapid soundbite becomes national news. The idea of police officers being targets of random attacks due to recent events and headlines hit the White House like a bag of liquid cat shit. Unconfirmed reports state the White House offered this press release. Initially, it simply said, "No duh." Later, the statement was retracted and replaced with a more official-sounding response. Obama formed the task force of law enforcement officers, academics, and civil rights advocates and charged them to deliver a set of best practices within 90 days that local police departments could follow to build community trust and decrease the perception of a racial bias. Since then, conflict has escalated in New York City between police and Mayor Bill de Blasio over his support of many outspoken police critics following the use of a fatal chokehold on an unarmed black man. Work activity by the department has since declined. Now, if you look at the crime statistics in New York before the police began declining work activities, they really didn't do much. At the time, they kept the homeless out of Manhattan, randomly stopping those of a darker hue of skin and frisking them as policy at the time decreed. And I'm just saying, sometime, if you simply sit down and be calm, the solution will present itself. Task Force member Constance Rice said the testimony of the police organizations sounded, quote, extremely combative. We would all have been surprised if it had been anything else, really. This week out of Anaheim, California health officials have linked more than 24 cases of measles in 4 states to Disneyland or Disney California Adventure. The California Department of Health said that 26 confirmed cases in states that include California, Washington, Colorado, and Utah, 8 patients had not been vaccinated. Most of the patients, who range in age from 8 months to 21 years, visited the theme parks between December 15th and December 20th. Officials said they may have contracted the disease at one of the parks or from someone who had been at one of the parks. Measles is a highly contagious virus that can be spread through sneezing or coughing. Symptoms include fever, cough, running nose, and a full-body rash. Some conspiracy theorists claim the report is simply a press-implanted story to hype up Disney's upcoming attraction, Hall of the Future Highly Contagious Viruses that may or may not affect the skin that can be spread through sneezing or coughing. Yep, they're really hurting for titles over there. Tinseltown is abuzz with rumors that Goofy's cousin, Itchy Ass, will play the part of a dog with mange on its balls in a possible major theatrical release. We'll be back right after this.
In recognizing a communist, physical appearance counts for nothing. If he openly declares himself to be a communist, we take his word for it. If a person consistently reads and advocates the views expressed in a communist publication, he may be a communist. If a person supports organizations which reflect communist teachings, or organizations labeled communist by the Department of Justice, she may be a communist. If a person defends the activities of communist nations while consistently attacking the domestic and foreign policy of the United States, she may be a communist. If a person does all these things over a period of time, he must be a communist. But there are other communists who don't show their real faces, who work more silently.
a match? Hey there, never mind.
An Ohio man who claims solidarity with the Islamic State terror group was arrested Wednesday after plotting to bomb the U.S. Capitol and shoot federal government officials as they fled, prosecutors announced in Washington and in Ohio. In a report from the New York Times, the man has been identified as 20-year-old Christopher Lee Cornell of Greene Township near Cincinnati. He was charged in a criminal complaint and arrested by federal agents and Ohio police. The complaint was filed in federal court. At the time of this report, Cornell had not yet entered a plea in the case. Court documents presented by FBI agent T.A. Staterman said that Cornell came to the attention of authorities after he began posting statements online in support of the Islamic State last summer under the alias Rahil Marous Ubaidai. In other messages on social media, Cornell allegedly voiced his support for violent jihad and the work of violent extremists worldwide. Concerned about the postings, authorities placed a confidential informant close to Cornell. Staterman said that in August, Cornell sent Twitter messages to the informant saying that the attacks in the U.S. would be their way of supporting the Islamic State. Staterman said Cornell later showed the informant bomb-making instructions and other jihadist propaganda on his laptop and said that after their third meeting, it would be time to, quote, move. He described U.S. members of Congress as enemies, Staterman said. Cornell also allegedly told the informant that they would plant pipe bombs around the Capitol building and then shoot government officials fleeing from the area. Cornell's father, in a story in the Cincinnati Enquirer for Thursday editions, described his son as a, quote, mama's boy who never left the house. He said his son endured frequent incidents of abuse as a practicing Muslim. Quote, everything you're hearing in the media now, they've already painted him as some kind of terrorist, unquote. John Cornell told the newspaper, quote, they've painted him as some sort of jihadist. Christopher is one of the most peace-loving people I know, end quote. And coming up the weekend of April 11th, of course, is Gonzo Fest 2015. It'll be held in Hunter S. Thompson's hometown of Louisville, Kentucky. The event is hosted by Ron Whitehead, who is a Louisville native, a poet, and a friend of Hunter S. Thompson. He is also GonzoToday.com's poetry editor. He wears many hats. He's a great man. Throwing this festival for a great author. The festival will kick off Friday night with a little, mixer, April the 10th, right? Premiere of Storm Generation Films' Gonzo Fest 2014 documentary, which was, shot last year, right? Followed by an evening of bands, art, and various activities going on in Louisville on the 10th. Coming up on the 11th with the Gonzo Fest Parade, the Squalus Puppeteers will be featured. This Gonzo Fest, they will be launching a fundraising campaign to have a life-size bronze statue created of Hunter S. Thompson, which will eventually be placed at one of the main entrances to Cherokee Park in Louisville. Ralph Steadman has also created the logo for Gonzo Fest 2015, along with some other art. They've got a whole bunch of stuff planned, and as the information comes to us, like I said, we will get it out there. Also, there's been rumors sort of going around that there will be a big announcement coming up on Monday the 19th. So from where I'm sitting right now, that's tomorrow. Big Gonzo Fest announcement coming up tomorrow. And like I said, keep your eyes and your ears peeled. We'll let you know what's going down as it comes to us. We'll be back right after this.
And I quote you directly, sir, when I say...
We here at Gonzo Today would like to thank you for, quote-unquote, tuning in for this second installment of Memos from the National Affairs Desk. I'm your host, Dr. Jeffurious Higgason. I'd like to leave you with, something a little bit more, classy, but, humorous, right? Here's a reading from Lord Buckley himself, a little number entitled, His Majesty the Policeman.
I got to thinking about His Majesty the Policeman, see? I figured that must be the draggiest job in the world. Think what a drag it is going out on a good day, you're feeling real good, you're riding along, your squad car's all polished up, you know what I mean? And you're feeling real mellow. Along comes some poor stud with a loaded with kids like a flower pots all over the place. Going a little too fast, you know what I mean? You got to stop the cat. You got to bring him down and lay one on him. It's a pretty tough job. And then when you walk up to you, you don't know whether they're going to pull out a French 75 or what the hell is it? It's a drag, so I wrote a little thing called His Majesty, the policeman. He's a children friend at every bend, the policeman. And you can bet your life he's hip to Mac to knife. That's His Majesty, the policeman. You should never trip a policeman, or try to hip or even tip a policeman. Get a ticket to the ball, and you can't fight City Hall. That's the Majesty, the policeman. Say, remember that nobility. They're here, they're there, they're everywhere. It's mobility. You can look near and far, but they'll pin you by radar. That's the Majesty, the policeman. Here they come, the man in blue. The sergeant's there, ribbity-bip, the patrolman too. Habba-da-bop, the chief looks right. Habba-da-bop, the captain straight. Ribbity-bip, hip-hip, hooray. The royal crew. Habba-da-bop-da-bop. You always try to swing with a policeman, and never ring-a-ding a policeman. And if you're really hip, you'll never make a slip against Their Majesties, the policeman.
Let me be your hog. Let me be your hog now. I said, baby, 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 baby.
The news you have just heard was a digest of Press Association dispatches. Further details will be found in your newspapers.